Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy III. In the last part, we got off of Bahamut's nest, met Desh, who is now for some reason blue due to color palette things, and after getting a ship finally due to getting Nepto sane again, we're now in the Ancients' village. Which is a bit of an interesting place. Apparently the Ancients are like some of the oldest people around, but the eldest people are also the wisest are the Gurgans, as Desh is telling us, who are apparently in a valley not too far away. And here in the Ancients' village, I actually want to do some purchases. I want to buy 4 Echo Herbs in the item shop from the inn because some upcoming enemies can mute my mages, which is never good. I want to buy another Serpent Sword just so I can have double the attack and also just so I can have double the lightning effectiveness. In the armor shop, I want to buy a headband for Ark and 2 wizard robes, one for Refia, one for Ingus. And in the magic shop, I want to buy the sight spell, the exit spell, the wash spell, which cures blindness. And you could check the black magic, but not much of it's useful for me.
Why would you, like, purposely purchase the sight spell? There's no use to it apart from seeing the world map, which I don't know.
You say that, but there is at least one legitimate use I have for it later on. Because later on, let's just say the map's going to be a bit annoying. Yeah, my reaction too. The reason I say you want to check the black magic is because there is potentially useful stuff there. Like, I think we're coming up, it's either here or at the next magic shop. You can buy the safe spell. It's probably the next one, actually. And the safe spell is really good. It's basically a stackable protect spell. But I don't buy it because I have better items to get.
This safe spell is a stackable protect.
Basically. And it's really good. Okay, yeah, Fire Ice 2, nothing really that useful, but yeah, you could if you didn't get those 3 earlier.
Wash is a pretty interesting spell for a name, or name for a spell.
Reminds me of Serenity. But either way, as that lady over there said, there is apparently a Chocobo forest to the east. Chocobos are back from Final Fantasy 2.
Aha, I was right.
And that kid in the bottom there actually told us that he'll give us something if we go around the entire continent on a Chocobo, which very minor side quest, but I'm going to be doing it anyway.
That's actually something that they tell you to do in Final Fantasy V, and I think you get an Angel's Earring for it. No, you got the Mirage Vest.
It's a lot more worth it in 5, I'll tell you that for a fact right now.
I don't know, even then I didn't find the reward in 5 very useful.
Mirage Vest is better than what we get here, though. Easily.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, let's be fair, this is earlier in the game.
Yeah. So let's go check out the Chocobo's forest.
So can you, at this point, go all the way around the world on a Chocobo?
Yes, because we're on a floating continent. Someone in the Ancients' village actually mentioned that. We're basically on a sky continent, and the outer rim is entirely walkable.
Smells like Chocobos. Oh, fat Chocobo?
Yep, this is the first game to feature them. We can't get any carrots yet, but when you get carrots, you can go to one of those smells like carrots places, and you can get a fat Chocobo. Basically, a storage room. You can store a larger amount than your inventory can hold, and I'm going to be using it to store some stuff later
Also,
on.
the Chocobo theme in this game is probably my favorite in the series.
It's the first game in the series to have the full theme too, because 2 only had that dun da 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 part, whereas this introduced the second verse of it. Similarly to how Mario 64 introduced the second half of the Starman theme. When you're on a Chocobo, you move faster, obviously, but you get no encounters, so it's kind of if you don't want to just get around place. But it's also good to do this just because you can get some hints of where to go later on. Like we're coming up on a peninsula right there that we can't access otherwise unless we use the ship. That's a very important town to go to.
Is it really?
And yes.
Does it have good items for this point or something?
Semi. And even, I forget if I specifically stopped to look at it, there's that little valley there we'll be checking out later on. Way later on, actually, like second to last part later on.
Interesting. The only other game that I can think of that had a floating continent is 6.
Basically, yeah.
And
6.
And the floating continent in 6 is hostile.
Yeah, technically this place is hostile. There's enemies all over the place now. But for doing that whole choice quest, we get a midget bread.
John's getting upset.
I kind of just looked at the game with a very disappointed look when I first got that, because that's not worth it.
What? Why?
By the way, now I'm back in Tockle because you just need to get over towards the north, because Castle Argass is right there, or Argass rather. But not before we finally encounter our first enemy for the part, a knocker.
Goblins.
185 HP, 120 XP, 80 gil. Can drop a potion, a Zeus's Rage, or a Devil's Sight, which I think that just does something not really worth mentioning.
They totally look like goblins to me. Also, wow, that was a lot of damage.
There's a goblin recolor. Devil's Sight is a remedy. Okay. Very vanilla enemies, not really even worth showing off. I just do it because I have the rule of if a new enemy shows up, show it off.
Arrow. I'm sad that you can't use arrow in Final Fantasy IX.
You can't?
No, you.
Wait, that's right. Isn't it a blue mage spell?
It's enemy only blue magic. It's super weird.
Huh. I could have sworn you could get it. Mind you, I'm probably thinking of
5.
White Wind. I'm probably thinking of the White
Yeah,
Wind.
you can get white. You can get white.
7.
Yeah, you can get white wind in 9.
Isn't it from the enemy that's back from 7 too? Like the giant green bird guy?
Zemzalet thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also get it from the zoo in Disc 2. So.
Ugh. I don't like remembering that guy. Either way, welcome to Castle Argass, which is suspiciously abandoned. But there's immediately a hidden passageway right here.
How can you tell?
You're not supposed to know that's there until later on, but I already know it's there, so might as well get the treasure now, right?
Fair.
And this castle, first off, you're going to be getting a decent amount of gil in here. But it's also worth going in here just because you're going to be getting a decent amount of battle use items that you're going to want to use on an upcoming boss. I am rich. Though you really want to save your money because the last store in the game has the best weapon in the game, and you can get multiple of it, and I want to get as many as I can.
The onion sword?
Also, I went back... no. Well, technically the second best weapon then. That staircase I went immediately back down from, that's the roof. There are 2 towers up there, but I can't access them yet. And then there's this hidden room with some bomb shards, Southwind. I think there's a paralyzer over here to the east. That's about it, but you want those items for later. Especially the bomb fragment.
Weak to fire enemy, huh?
Yep.
Were you grinding enemies in there?
No, I grinded in the map or the ocean. I got to level 18. By like 14, I removed the... Well, I went to 17, that's right, because 18 was a bit overkill for me. I removed the monk's weapon by 14 just because he's more powerful now. You want to be around probably 15, 16 for the upcoming area, but I just want to go a bit safe. And here we got another 2 new enemies. Killer Fish, which has 85 HP, 96 XP, 64 gil, weak to thunder.
And the Sea Elemental, which has 123 HP, 100 XP, and 67 gold, and they're weak to thunder.
Nothing too special, thankfully, especially the Sea Elemental, because the Sea Elemental equivalent in Final Fantasy 1 I remember being fairly annoying. But overall, nothing too bad. The water in this game is not too bad at all, honestly, at least for right now.
Oh my god. I'm looking at the flyer palettes in the NES and the DS version, and it just looks so bizarre.
Oh yeah, the upcoming enemy, that's really weird looking. That right there is the Tower of Owen, which we were recommended to go to by someone, I forget who. But we want to head over to the west first. Ah, well, there's something in that lake.
Loch Ness Monster.
Weird. Possibly. Welcome to the Gurgen Valley, the guys that Desh told us about.
Leviathan?
Possibly. These are the Gurgans. If you remember the Circle of Sages from that one town in Final Fantasy 1, they're basically that. Plot dump time. We must get the crystals restored, blah, blah, blah. Save the world, blah, blah, blah.
So do they just sit here talking?
Yeah, they tell us where to go next. Basically, when the tower emits a red flame, it's going to do something. Restore the fire crystal, which is near the land of dwarves. Basic just plot stuff. The Living Forest is calling us. Stuff is unclear.
So we haven't restored any crystals yet.
We restored the wind crystal in part 1. after fighting the ice turtle, land turtle. And this guy's telling us to go to Tower of Owen. Oh, it's a bit early on that. Sorry about that. But he gave us the Toad spell, which we apparently need in order to enter it. Toad is a white magic spell. Does what you think it does. Inflicts the Toad status. It's technically like Final Fantasy II, an instant death spell. But its base hit percentage is so low, it's almost worthless to use until you get higher hit. What's the word?
Skill level?
Hit multipliers.
No.
But it will be worth using later on. I will say that for a fact. Probably by like part 6, 7, it's going to be really good.
So is there any actual death spell in this game?
Death, I don't remember if it's a thing, but Minnie and Toad still function as death spells like Final Fantasy II. Either way, here we got 2 new enemies. The Gorgon, 200 HP, 128 XP, 86 gil.
And the flyer has is level 7. Ugh. It has 190 HP, 120 XP, and 82 gil, and it's weak to wind because it's a flying enemy, and it does not drop anything whatsoever. It does glare, and I think that's a sleep ability.
Yeah, I thought it was blind.
They are nuisances as their glare special can inflict sleep on a party member.
Oh, okay then. Okay then, glare does do multiple things. I was wondering about that. I guess it just depends on the enemy. That's weird. Why do they have the same name for multiple enemies? And there's a whirlpool, so we can't go north, but we can enter the Tower of Owen, which immediately has new enemies for us.
Okay, Pigmen. Naha. It had the white screen again, but it's working. It's working now. Wait, come on now. Whatever. It's got a certain amount of HP, and it drops a certain amount of gil, and it's probably weak to thunder because it's in the water.
It's dead too.
Oh.
Womp womp. I can get the exact stats out probably pretty quickly.
I am so sorry.
It happens. Maybe we should start writing these down again. 109 HP, 144 XP, 96 gil. Can use fire, ice, venom, sleep, or blind. It can drop potion, maiden's kiss, echo herb, or black mallet. And up here, we actually need to use Toad on the party in order to access the next area. I feel bad doing that to Refia because she hates Toads in the DS version. And now we can immediately untoad because we're in the actual Tower of Owen.
So what would happen if you did turn her into a toad?
There's just a cutscene where she does it very reluctantly. And someone's talking to us. Okay then. This area can be kind of annoying though. Mostly just do some of the enemies, like the Putty Mage. Putty Mage is 118 HP, 152 XP, 101 gil, has access to Ice 2, and more importantly, Mute. This is why I bought those Echo Herbs earlier, just because I don't want my mages getting muted.
Gross.
You want to save your higher spell charges in this place, by the way, for the boss. Oh, that's right, they also drop Potion, Maiden Kiss, Echo Herb, Black Mallet, same things as the Pigmen.
I can already tell you right now that the last 2 enemies on my side are failing to load slightly, as I see it right now, but the next 2 enemies are working.
Okay, that's weird. It's being very inconsistent for you. I can get them up.
I'll tell you if they're not working. Oh, no, they're working now, I think.
Hello, person talking to us. And apparently, Desh's memory is randomly back. He's an ancient like the guys over in the town. Very random for him to remember that. But we're immediately got into our next battle against a Farjalud.
Farah. It's probably Farah. No! Oh my god! Okay, it has 111 HP, 144 EXP, 98 gil, and it has Ice 2, Blind, Toad, and Venom. So it could instantly kill you, possibly, but probably not.
Wait, instant kill?
It
with what?
Isn't Toad an insta-kill?
On enemies. On us, it's just a status element.
Oh, haha.
It's an instant. I probably should have specified that earlier. That's my bad, actually. It's an instant kill on enemies.
I probably should have known that too from going through Final Fantasy 1.
And 2. And since Desh has his memory back, he apparently knows something about this place. There's a switch right here in order for us to progress. Odd that he knows that. The thing I like about Final Fantasy 3, but also don't, is that there's more enemies in the game, but there's also less per dungeon. Because there's more dungeons in this game than Final Fantasy 1 and 2 combined, I think. A lot of them are fairly linear, too. This one is one of the most linear in the entire game. Only real branches are very short ones in order to get a couple of chests. But it's like it's a tower or something. Either way, next enemy is a Blood Bat, 114 XP, HP, 152 XP, 100 gil, and that's about
Man,
it.
this is a wonderful day for enemy notes, isn't it?
Exactly. Wonderful day to be a neighbor.
Wonderful day to be recording, and indeed.
I can't remember the last time I watched any of, why am I forgetting the name?
2 capacity.
Why am I forgetting the...
Ooh, you got 2 capacity.
Why am I forgetting the name? Mr. Rogers. Okay. Whew. I was wondering. Whew, boy. The thing about capacity, by the way, it maxes out at 255. So, don't grind for it. Just go through the game and you'll probably get enough to progress and you're fine.
Alright, the next enemy is called Ohishuki. 122 HP, 160 EXP, and 105 gil. That's it.
Yeah. Enemies at the start of the game and like the first third are honestly pretty bland. The bosses are the most interesting things. Thankfully, once we get to, I technically call it the last 2/3, but in terms of like storyline, it's more like the last half. We'll be doing a lot more, don't worry.
So, is there an Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 spell in this game?
There is an Arrow 2, there is not an Arrow 3. Odd, but I can understand why, because Arrow honestly never really got many upgrades in the other games either.
Not until 5, anyway.
Oh, that's right, there was an Arrow 2 in 5.
There's an Arrow 2 and an Arrow 3 in 5.
I don't remember the Arrow 3. Mind you, when it comes to magic priorities after blue and black magic and some white, my main priority is time magic. And there we get a salamander sword. Basically, it's a more powerful serpent sword and it's fire elemental.
Salamander.
Yep.
I know that from 12 because the Salamandentite in trying to get the early Arcturus.
And then we get the flame mail. Basically, it's equipment that protects you from...
Okay, I'm really confused because I think it's bugged in Final Fantasy IV because the whole flame mail and ice beast thingy doesn't make much sense to me. Because like
the reason is that it protects you from the opposite element, but it makes you weak to the exact one. So that makes me immune, stronger against ice.
That's so odd.
Yeah, it's weird. But it does lead us almost immediately to our next boss, the one who's apparently causing the Tower of Owen to go haywire, the Medusa. 980 HP, 360 XP, 1200 gil. Can use 2 things on you. She has a stare ability, which has a 1 in 3 chance of petrifying a party member. She's supposedly weak to ice, but I don't notice that much of a difference. And she also has the break ability, which is another petrifying spell.
Wow, break. That's a pretty late game spell.
There's 2 break spells in this game. The way that petrifying works in this game is a bit odd, at least with enemies, is that there's a bit of a timer on it. Like a break spell won't petrify you in one shot. It needs like 2 or 3 of them. Thankfully, I kill her pretty quickly. You're always going to want to keep your health up, though, because she can do some damage with her physical attacks, if I recall. And now let's check out the Tower of Owen's Red Flame. Something's going wrong with the power reactor, apparently, but Desh apparently knows how to fix it. He was apparently the guardian of this tower. But something's going wrong and he needs to fix it.
You used a paralyzer?
No, that was just me forgetting to actually just walk up and just investigate instead of pressing B. But Desh needs to go in and fix it, but in doing so, he would be basically committing a suicide mission.
Oh no, it's Deguza all over again. Or wait. I'm forgetting his name suddenly. Who was the one that was in the Atomos Tower with Galuf?
The wolf guy? I don't remember.
Not the wolf guy. It was the other guy. It was the other dude.
Either way, Desh sacrificed himself in order to fix the tower, and doing so, he made the whirlpool outside disappear. Also, get used to this song. Whenever someone dies in the game, this song forces you to sit there and listen to it for about 30 seconds. Which, understandable. It's supposed to be an emotional moment, supposed to be quote unquote, because this game's story is pretty not that deep. But yeah, that seems kind of stupid that they make you sit there for that long.
Who? The next enemy here is the Hermit. And the Hermit has 105 HP, 96 EXP, 66 gil, and they're weak to thunder, and they can poison you, so be careful.
These are the guys I grinded on in the lake about 2 parts back to get up to level 13, because they get the most experience points. They get like 100 something. Oh, 48. It's probably either way. No, I think experience is actually split between party members. That might be it. Either way, now that we can go to the north, we can actually access more of the floating continent sea, including that one peninsula village from earlier. So let's check this place out.
Sheep!
Welcome to Castle.
Oh, it's called Gasol, like Gasol Greens?
This is before the greens were introduced, but it's in this village we can actually buy a few specific things. Namely, we can buy carrots here, which allow us to access the Fat Chocobo, and towards the north of the village, there's this one specific shop that sells magic keys. In terms of what I'm buying in this town, I'm buying Ice 3, Shade, and Mute. Mute I'm only buying for one enemy way at the end of the game, and Shade is a paralysis spell that I rarely ever use, but I have it for battles that I probably ended up cutting out anyway. And there's also a pretty interesting secret here in the inn.
Who?
If you check this wall right here, there's this little girl. How you doing? Oh, it's basically the developer's room.
Ooh, that's cool.
The smallest one of the series, 4's, is way more interesting. But that's there. Either way, as I was saying, the building basically at the most north of the village, the one right in front of me actually, sells magic keys. There are specific doors that are locked that we cannot access unless we have some of these. At this point, I am buying 10 of them. They're basically ways in order to railroad you to come over here first, but there's also a treasure chest behind him that you access by getting over here. In this treasure chest is the almighty Shuriken, the first thrown weapon in the series, and it's the strongest one in the game, aside from the Onion Sword. Problem is, only one class can use it, and we can't get that until endgame.
Ninja.
Yep. Also, I like the song here, but it also reminds me oddly of the sunken village in Oracle Seasons.
I can see that.
You do want to get carrots, though, because the Fat Chocobo really is useful in this game.
Because storage space.
Yeah, and there's one item I'm going to be getting in a few moments that you really want to store for later. Oh, and that Chocobo's outside the house.
Can you not put the water fang in the storage thing?
Nope.
Gross. That's why. Can you not put the pink tail in the storage thing?
Pink tail?
In 4.
No, because why would you do that anyway? Either way, now I'm back in the part of Argass we were at earlier where I was at the top floor, because now we have the magic keys, we can actually open these. There is another way to open these magic key doors later on using a certain class, but we don't have access to that, so I can't do that. So now we can just walk on through and do something. Also, I'm pressing select to show you, in case you have that certain class, how you can switch to them. And here we get the flame, lights, and, well, we get the flame, we get stuff. The books, only one class can use that we can't get yet. But that new robe we got there, I want to put onto Refia, the scholar robe.
Let's see if it's books. A shaman of sorts? I don't know if they exist in this game.
There is a shaman class, but it's not that one. This is the more important one to go in, though, this one right here, because there is a secret passageway we can go through somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Where'd you go? There you are. And in here we get Medusa arrows, a killer bow, and a bolt. The Medusa arrows are the very important thing there. They petrify enemies that when they hit them. And that's going to be very useful later on. Call it like 3-4 parts in the future. So I'm going to use one of my carrots and summon in the Fat Chocobo. As I said before, it's basically a storage mode. You can store a lot more than your inventory can hold, and I'm going to be storing the Medusa arrows. Later on, I'm actually going to be storing the flame mail in here. And I'm storing just some extraneous items I don't feel like selling because I won't get much for them. Also store the shuriken.
Oh my god, this song makes me so happy.
You really will like to use this guy, and we'll have much more access to him later on. Because right now you kind of have to go out of the way to find him.
So what are you going to do with that Lamia scale?
Sell it, basically. It's another status item. Does something I don't really care
Probably
about.
confusion.
Yeah, confusion, more than likely. Either way, now I'm back at the Tower of Owen. I'm sailing west to find the Dwarven Cave.
Lally ho!
I think this is the game that introduced that. Or was it 3? I forget. Or 2, rather. And the dwarves have their own set of problems. They have 2 horns of ice that apparently have some sort of power over ice, can do stuff with them. But one of them has been stolen by a guy named Goosko. And because of that, they first off sealed off the other one from access, and they want us to go get back the other one just so he can't do anything bad with it. There's also some shopping to be done here. In these 3 doors. The one on the top left is an inn, and that's also an item shop. And the one on the top is a weapon. The one on the far right is probably armor. I want to get an ice helm for Lunith, so he's now basically immune to both fire and ice. And I want to get another Salmon sword and a shining staff. And I also want to buy 4 to 10 softs.
Oh, Tyrving. That's the Tyrfing?
Yeah, it's a red mage exclusive sword though.
God,
So,
I love seeing
I
love seeing Tyrfing because Ep.4.
The Shining Staff is a lot more useful, though, and really at this point you only really need the Burning or the Freezing Staff. I recommend the Burning over the Freezing, though, so you can probably sell the other one, although I'm probably going to keep it around for a bit. And there's also a bow I constantly have in my inventory from here on out until, like, 3-4 parts in the future. You can sell that, because I don't end up using it. I just had it just in case I wanted to have someone who wanted to use a bow for, like, a certain enemy type or something. Same with the arrows. Ah, that feels good. I'm now immune to both main elements.
Good.
So now let's head after Goosko. As someone said, he dove into that lake basically around the horn, but there is thankfully a way for us to alternatively access that, and that's the sub-lake over here, which we cannot enter unless we are a toad again, so another use for the toad spell. Though, like before, you can immediately untoad. This game does status dungeons a lot more often, and while I like the idea of it, I also don't like the execution of it, because status elements are pretty, not useful on you. I don't mind equipment altering dungeons, status kind of feels wrong. And now we're thrown into our next enemy, a bomb! They're finally back.
You asked for it!
100
More bombs!
125 HP, 160 gil, 110, 160 XP, 110 gil. Oddly weak to fire, and they don't drop anything, but they will explode on you. But how they explode depends on which version of the bomb enemy it is. This one of all self-destructs one's HP. It's at critical, which I forget exactly how critical is decided in 3. I think it's 1/16th.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's 1/16th. This area is very linear, by the way, but there is a few good enemies in here. One in particular you want to save your level 2 spells for. Also, I'm just only realizing this now, but this area actually reminds me of the one dungeon in 4. Oh boy.
Okay, so now we have the Manticore. The Manticore has 120 HP, 160 EXP, and 112 gold. As far as the wiki page is concerned, it can use ice. And it doesn't seem weak against anything, and it doesn't drop anything either.
I just like killing them quickly because they can cause some damage if left alone. Especially in a back attack like this. Oh, I should probably go over back attack stuff for this game. Back attacks, basically the same as usual. The enemy gets first move and rows are reversed. But it's not really worth reversing your rows again in order to have them back to normal for them. Because your reverse rows stay after the back attack. So if I reverse my rows there, Ark and Lunith would be in the back row still.
That's strange.
And on a similar note, running away in this game sucks. It's very low chance, and when even one of your party members selects run away, your defenses are lowered extremely.
Reminds me of a certain Spoony Bard.
Yeah, oh boy. Just wait until we get to the Bard class in this game. Ha ha! Oh god. And I'm assuming that's Goosko there, because why else would there just be a random guy standing around? I recommend putting on 2 of your Salmon swords just because the strength is worth it.
Goosko.
And I don't like his enemy design, by the way. What is he doing with that snake? Goosko has 1400 HP, 500 XP, 1500 gil. No real elemental weaknesses, but he can use fire too against you. Which would hurt me, but I have the Flame Mail and Ice Helm on, so I'm basically immune to both. And I just have the higher damage output. I could recommend using Cura very often in this fight, just as a party target. Just so you can constantly have some healing going, but really, I can just go all out, and I'm mostly fine. You can also, I think, use Mini in the DS version, which makes him much more annoying.
The DS version usually ups the difficulty of every game that it's made for.
Yeah, it does. But we got the horn back. Because really, Goosko is not that hard of a boss. In fact, until like the latter half of the game, a lot of the bosses aren't even that hard. And there's a line following us. Odd. Well, let's get back to the dwarf cave and see what's going on here. Up here. I can speak the English to very wells. And he's going to dissolve the barrier for us, and now we can place down the horn.
That line is a trap, maybe? Oh.
What's going on?
Boy.
What? Someone's been following us.
I can't believe you went for the oldest trick in the book! What a goof!
Goosko faked his own death in order to get both horns. So, we have some issues.
No!
He's going to use the horns to open up the path to the Crystal of Fire so he can get the firepower for himself. Also, he walked through the wall somehow. So that's not good.
How dare.
Thankfully, we have an easy path back to where the Fire Crystal even is, because it's not too far away. If you look on the world map after exiting, even though I know the part just ended, it's actually the path, the cave just to the north of you. However, with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry. I completely forgot Kenny existed for a second there. Sorry. In part 5, we'll be heading over to that fire cave, but first I'm actually going to be grinding up to level 20, 22-ish, just so I have some extra levels for the upcoming boss fight, because the upcoming boss fight's like the first really annoying one.
That guy's antics reminded me so much of Flea, but regardless, thank you guys for watching, coming from me, of course.
Have a great night, and take care.
We'll see you soon.
See you guys then.
Bye-bye.